YouTube, how's it going? The Goat House is back with my NCAA tournament bracket, something we do every single year. If you're new to our channel, we have full NFL coverage, covering free agency and the draft right now. Just again, we always do this. It's a fun time of the year. I always throw out my bracket here. But check out our channel. Check out the NFL content if you're interested. It'd be much appreciated. But let's get into it here. Excited about March Madness. It never disappoints, but I am a little disappointed in the layout of this bracket. Well, first off, small part of it, I did want St. John's in. I'm not a St. John's fan, but they were playing really good basketball recently. I was kind of, depending on who they played, I was kind of planning on having them win a couple games at least. But the layout of this bracket, what I'm talking about is the East region. UConn, Iowa State, Illinois, Auburn, all in the same region. I mean, that feels like a Final Four, like a legit Final Four. There is a scenario where all four could have met, or some of them could have met in the Final Four. I may have had that if they're all in separate regions. All conference tournament champions. It's just, I did not go through their head that looked a little weird or that didn't make a lot of sense. So I am disappointed about that, but I'm sure it's going to be fun. Always is. But starting at the top, I'm going to go UConn over Stetson. FAU, the team that they were last year and going into this year, we know they can do some damage. And Northwestern's a little sneaky, but gotta go at Florida Atlantic. I'd imagine a lot of people picking them. 5 versus 12, gonna be a lot of upsets, obviously, to pick. I'm not gonna go with that one. San Diego State, always tough in the tournaments. Auburn and Yale, love the way Auburn ended their season, that tournament play. Bruce Pearl has those guys playing, especially, right now, but every year at this time of the year. That's a dangerous team. I think they're much better than a 4 seed. Man, yeah, I still can't believe that those 4 teams are in there. UConn's biggest threat, I think, if you listed a couple of their biggest threats in this whole tournament, I think they're in their region. So it's crazy. BYU and Duquesne. Duquesne got hot there at the end, won their conference tourney. BYU could shoot the 3, but they do live and die by it seems like. I'm going to go BYU. Illinois wins the Big Ten. How would they have played if they played against Purdue? Different story, but they can score. Terrence Shannon, one of the very best players, but they got more than that. That's the crazy thing. Like if he goes off, they're tough to beat. But there's other guys that could step up as well. Go Illinois. We don't have an upset yet in this region. I'm going to go with one here. I'll go Drake over Washington State. Those Pac-12 teams are usually tough to predict. They'll randomly have like a crazy year, obviously in the tournament, but they're so tough to tell sometimes and how good they actually are. Iowa State ends it with a dominant win against Houston. That's a defensive team, and that is an elite defensive team right there. Do we stay up here? We'll go to the South. Go Houston. Speaking of Iowa State, disappointed in how Houston ended things, but they should have no problem against Longwood. Nebraska A&M. Nebraska had a pretty good run in the Big Ten tournament. A&M, they don't have the best record, obviously, but they're sneaky. I'm going to take A&M. They're sneaky. The rebound machine, offensive rebounding, they lead the country in offensive rebounds. I think that could be a factor in tournament play. So I'll go with A&M. We didn't do 5-12 over there. I'm going to do it over here, even though Wisconsin, that's tough because Wisconsin took down Purdue. They really challenged Illinois in the Big Ten championship game. I'm feeling James Madison. They only lost 3 games all year. There's a reason for that. So, they played weaker competition. But it's a really good team. We go Duke over Vermont. NC State shocks the world, beats North Carolina, beats them up, pretty well. I'd say, and that's how they get in. Texas Tech, they're a good team, a well-coached team. I'm going to go Texas Tech, but NC State, they're hot right now. It's crazy how good they were in that game against, throughout the tournament too. We'll take Kentucky over Oakland. Florida, obviously that gruesome injury in the SEC title game is tough. Boise and Colorado, they both could be a little sneaky. It's tough because Florida kind of had almost want to say the formula to be good in the tournament. Like they rebound the ball well. They have a number of guys that can step up and play well for them. Injury to their big man could be tough. I'm going to still take Florida, but that's tough. Marquette, supposed to get Kolek back, maybe not in round 1, but one of their better players, more well-rounded players on Marquette. So that's something to watch for. So do we have, James Madison, the only upset. We got a 9 seed there. Down to North Carolina winning that one. Again, disappointed in the conference title game. Before that, I was really feeling North Carolina. Mississippi State, Michigan State's one of the tougher ones to pick of the first round because, I mean, it's Michigan State. They win, especially when they're a lower seed. They seem to win a bit. It's their time of the year. They always show out. I just think Mississippi State's a better team. You know, what they did to Tennessee, who's a legit team. Mississippi State, they're pretty well balanced. Like, they can score, they can play defense. They're not elite or great on either of those, but it seems like they can do both. It's so tough to pick. Like, pick Michigan State because it's Michigan State. It makes more sense for me to pick who I think the better team is, but it's March Madness. St. Mary's, Grand Canyon, another great one. 5 versus 12. Grand Canyon seems like a really solid team. But St. Mary's is really solid. They're tough, physical, outplaying Gonzaga this year. I mean, that's huge. So maybe one of the better St. Mary's team in some time. I'm going to take them, but Grand Canyon could definitely be sneaky. I'll take Bama, who obviously can score the ball very well. New Mexico is good. They have House as their best player, but they have several really good players. They're pretty balanced, too. I like them on both sides of the court. I'm going to take New Mexico. I mean, I'm excited to see them get some better competition here, but they look like 11 seed doesn't do the justice there. Like, it looks like they're a pretty damn good team. Then I'll take Baylor over Colgate. Obviously, Baylor can score as well. I like Nevada over Dayton, 10-7. Arizona, another team that's like really good, but disappointed how they ended it. You know, it seems like, number of teams like that. Houston, like teams I was like kind of hot on before the conference tournament. So Houston, where everybody was. Houston, Arizona, Tennessee, North Carolina loses in their title games. NC State, number of teams like that. Purdue doesn't get upset in the first round this year. Utah State, TCU, the Big 12 is tough. They're tough. Those teams are prepared. TCU, I feel like they're better than a 9 seed too. Like, they're sneaky. They are sneaky. I'm going to take them. Purdue maybe have their hands full for a 1-9 matchup there. These 8-9s, I mean, they should be good. They're really good. But TCU looks good. I told myself, over a week ago, more than that I was going to have McNeese State. Is it just McNeese now? I thought it was always McNeese State, but I told myself I was going to have them winning at least in the first round. They look really good. They got some ball players on their team. They got some athletic guys that can score. They got to play Gonzaga, who's well coached, ready for the tournament always. It's not their best team, but I told myself I was taking McNeese, so we're going to do it. Kansas and Samford. Yeah, Kansas down the stretch wasn't playing their best ball. Could that carry over? Could they get upset? I could see it. I'm going to take Kansas, though. South Carolina and Oregon, two sneaky teams. I mean, South Carolina isn't talked about a lot. That's a decent 6 seed, but Oregon got hot. Beating Arizona and then beating Colorado in the Big 12 title game. And, they're a little beat up for the big portion of the year. And that's, I think, how they ended up the 11th, like how they ended up with a disappointing record. So healthier now, they are a much, much better team than the 11th seed. So they could be dangerous. I'll take Oregon. So we have some upsets. We have 11 and 12. I think highly of TCU as a 9 seed. I like Creighton, who's got some good experience looking at last year, and that's a tough team as well. Texas versus it's either Virginia or Colorado State. That's an interesting one too. I mean, I'm gonna go if we're taking the two teams there. I'm gonna take them. I think if it's Virginia, one of the elite defensive teams in basketball, Houston and Iowa State are at the top. Houston and Iowa State are at the top because that's how they play. Obviously Virginia is not as good as them, but teams that play that good defensively. They're tough. They're tough. Their issue is free throw shooting. But if they don't get by Colorado State, they're pretty sneaky as well. They have some quality non-conference wins. So I actually wanted to go that route over Texas, but we'll see. And I'll take Tennessee over St. Peter's. St. Peter's. Could be sneaky. Not this year. I don't think this year. I think Tennessee's got them, but Tennessee disappointed. They're a very good team, disappointed against Mississippi State. To the top, UConn, FAU. UConn's got this is such a tough region. Not only do you have those 4 UConn, those top 4 seeds are ridiculous. FAU is a damn good 8 seed. I mean, damn good, but UConn's just too good. I'll take them. I like Auburn over San Diego State. I mean, it's a really good team. Illinois, I mean, BYU kind of relies on the 3. Illinois will score on them. Illinois can score on anybody. They'll score. Iowa State, Drake's not going to be able to score much points on them. That defense is ridiculous. So I do have 1, 2, 3, 4 in this region. This is the best 1, 2, 3, 4 I've ever seen in any bracket ever. It's the best 1, 2, 3, 4 in one region. Top 4 seeds. I mean, those are legit teams. Any one of them can win the title this year, and then included in there is the heavy favorites, the defending champion UConn Huskies. So I hate that they did the bracket like that. I hate it. It makes the bracket more fun. Like, I might have, like, again, a 4 seed Auburn in the Final Four, or a 3 seed, it's tough. I'll take North Carolina or Mississippi State. Mississippi State's very sneaky though, but there's a chance they don't even get by Michigan State. St. Mary's and Alabama. I like St. Mary's. Alabama scores. They score the rock, best in the country actually. But St. Mary's plays tough. I didn't know the way they play. I think they can force Alabama to be a little off their game scoring wise. I'll take St. Mary's. But St. Mary's, they could lose, Grand Canyon's a tough 12. New Mexico and Baylor. Baylor's got a number of guys can score, but I like this New Mexico team. I know something about them. I think they're much better than an 11 seed. I will take New Mexico. So we have an 11 seed going even further. I'll take Arizona in that game. So got a little Southwest matchup there, New Mexico and Arizona in the next round. We got Purdue. TCU could be sneaky. I'll take Purdue. I'm going to take a Big East. It's a team I told myself, got a feeling about them a couple weeks ago. I know that's not that long ago. It was a whole season, but just one of those teams I don't want to go against my gut. They may lose to Gonzaga in the first round, but I got them going to see Purdue 1 versus 12. Oregon and Creighton. First, I'll take Tennessee there. Oregon Creighton is so tough. I mean, there's a realistic shot one of these teams could make the Final Four. Oregon is a much better team in their season. Otherwise, I thought New Mexico is better than 11 seed. I think Oregon's better than 11. Again, Oregon a little healthier now, so that makes them a dangerous team. They beat up Arizona pretty good. What I like about Creighton is that it feels like they kind of have it all. I don't want to say that. Some knocks on their bench. Maybe they don't have the best bench, but with their better players, like their starting group, it feels like they have a mixture of it all. Especially down low. The big guys. I like Creighton. It's a tough team. The way they played UConn the last time they played them, that maybe that's sticking with me a little bit. It'll stick with me through this. Me going through this bracket. So maybe I'm letting one game kind of stick with me a little too much there. But I like Creighton a lot. I think they're kind of built for this. I didn't do over here. Houston A&M. The way A&M rebounds the ball, they could win that. But I mean, that's Houston's game too. They play great defense. They get rebounds when they matter most. Houston, why they were so good this year is they won games. They went on streaks and won games, and this is all about going on streaks. And here they go 2 in a row. And A&M lost. They're a good sneaky team the way they rebound the ball, but they lost a lot of games this year. So I think it's a bad matchup for A&M. Actually, I'll take Houston. Duke, James Madison. We'll take Duke there. I kind of went bold with James Madison in the first round. Texas Tech, Kentucky could be sneaky. I'll take Kentucky in that one. Florida, Marquette. Florida got an injury. Marquette should be getting healthier. Kolek should be coming back. I'll take Marquette. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 in there too, so I don't love that I have that. But who is gonna? If Florida wasn't beat up, like they're getting injured, Marquette's getting healthier. We'll see if Kolek's back for that. I guess I could have the only other thing I would consider differently is Texas Tech over Kentucky, but Kentucky's such a good team. They almost were a little underwhelming, even though being very good this year. So I think they can kind of open it up and play even better in the tournament. So I'm pretty firm about those. I mean, probably gonna be wrong because it's March Madness, but some good 1, 2, 1 through 4s there. And what do we have down here? 1, 5, 2, and 11. So, and then 1, 12, 2, and 3. So it's just there's a pretty big difference there. UConn and Auburn, like I said, best region, the best top 4 seeds in one region I've ever seen that I could remember, like in my head. I almost make brackets like in my head. I don't really practice with the bracketology or anything like that, but I planned on having all 4 of these teams go far, and I thought I would be having at least 3 of them go further than this, but they all have to play each other basically. If there was a team that was going to beat UConn, it would be one of these teams. It would be one of these teams. It's tough. Auburn's got some physical guys. They can score. So well coached. Bruce Pearl has these guys balling. It's just UConn has everything. It was the reason they won last year, and it's the reason they're the favorite this year. I'm gonna take UConn. I wanted Auburn to go further in this. I wanted all these teams to go further in this. Iowa State, I mean, that's a damn good team, a damn good defensive team, elite defense. Illinois got the offense, led by Terrence Shannon. But they got a collection of weapons there. What Iowa State did to Houston in that tough conference, that Big 12 championship, I mean, that was unreal. Totally different matchup, though. Illinois is going to see a really good defensive team. I mean, there's pretty good defensive teams in the Big 10. So I think Illinois a little more tested. I think Iowa State matches up better with a Houston-type team than an Illinois-type team. And I think Houston matches up with an Illinois-type team. Not that really matters because Houston's on a different side of the bracket, but just to kind of talk about how there's different strengths and weaknesses there, different matchups. I'll take Illinois. Iowa State's defense is unreal, but Illinois will find ways to score, and they will. Obviously I have them outscoring Iowa State, but that's a game. That's a game there. We'll stay up here. Houston Duke. I like Houston. This is set up pretty good for Houston, who were maybe they were the team. I think people even before Houston lost, they were kind of thinking UConn's maybe the team, but they're one of the top teams. And after that game against Iowa State, it's like, whoa, okay, we got to rethink Houston. But the way this is set up, I think it's pretty good. They should definitely get to the stage. And I'm not overly thrilled with Duke. It's obviously a really good team, but if they play Wisconsin, maybe they'll have their hands full a little bit, even though I don't have that. It's kind of made for Houston, and the next round will be tough. Kentucky and Marquette's a tough one to pick. 2 good teams. I think Kentucky are probably they could be a better team in a 3 seed. And I have a feeling they kind of show that. But Marquette's a really good team. They're a really good team, even with the injury to one of their better players, best all-around player. And Kolek is expected to be back for the tournament. That almost made it sound like the first game. I don't know if he'll play the first game. I'm not the injury expert here. I'm not really a basketball expert either. I'm a football guy. But I just think with Marquette already being good and them getting healthy, that's kind of why I was leaning them. But Kentucky, that's tough. That's very tough. North Carolina, St. Mary's. I don't know. Again, I don't know what happened with North Carolina against NC State. That has me scared. I'll take them though. In that one, they're just a better team. New Mexico and Arizona. I have New Mexico winning pretty far because they're a really good team, but that's probably it. I think it's set up pretty well for Arizona to get to this point. I don't. Long Beach State's not going to be a challenge, whether it's Dayton or Nevada. I don't think it's going to be Nevada's sneaky, but not going to be a challenge. I think. They could score with Baylor and they're better. On the glass than them, and New Mexico's sneaky, but they're just not talented enough to deal with Arizona. I think it's set up pretty well for Arizona there to get to that point. That would be a fun game, North Carolina and Arizona. That's as far as we're going to have McNeese go. That was bold enough. Purdue not getting upset. Tennessee and this was the toughest of them. I'm trying to think of of my entire bracket. Every matchup, Creighton, Tennessee was the toughest one. I went back and forth with this one. Next, one of the better players in this entire tournament could obviously do some damage. Creighton, again, the rotation and the bench is the issue for them apparently, but they got a bit of everything. I think they got multiple ways to win with their starting lineup, so it's a little different. Creighton versus Tennessee, different for each team. Creighton's got that experience making the run before. It could be different, but Tennessee always is underwhelming too. I actually originally had Tennessee in this game. I actually switched it when Creighton. My original gut usually ends up being right, so hey, maybe Tennessee will win in that. Will win because of that. So now we have our Elite Eight. We got UConn 1 versus Illinois 3. We have a 1 and 2 Houston versus Marquette. We have a 1 and 2 North Carolina, Arizona. We have a 1. Do we have all ones? That's tough. I don't like doing that, but I love Houston's path. UConn might have a better shot to lose because they have to go through Florida Atlantic and Auburn. Compared to Houston, but UConn is the best team right now, most well-rounded team. North Carolina, I like their run too. I guess whoever wins 8-9, Mississippi State, Michigan State, I think that actually has more of a chance at beating them than St. Mary's, Alabama. I think the 8-9 could be a little sneaky there, but and then Arizona, I love the path for them. I really think Arizona's getting to this point. And then Purdue, TCU could be a little sneaky, but then you got Kansas, who kind of got cold. I think, before this point, maybe they don't want to see Gonzaga. Maybe that would be the team, but the path is set up for Purdue. I think they got, the easiest one seed path, probably. TCU could be a little sneaky, though. And then it could be Oregon. We could see an 11 seed get there at Purdue. That can make things interesting, but kind of just going through the 1 seeds. Like they have, I love their paths, minus UConn, but that's the best team. So that's kind of how we ended up. That's how we ended up with this year. So don't love that, but we do have a lot of upsets. 12, 11's going pretty far. The 11 seeds seem pretty good. So, but to break down, what we got? We're going to go UConn, Illinois next. I'm gonna go UConn. I'm gonna go UConn here. They could lose to Auburn. Illinois could lose to Iowa State. It could be Iowa State versus Auburn. One of those teams going to the Final Four. It's just tough to pick against UConn. I do love that Marquette's getting healthier right now. Houston. What I like about Houston, like compared to the past, is they're more tested now. Playing in the Big 12. And that was the issue in the past. Really good team, but are they tested enough? But the argument against that is they have that big stage, that true test, Big 12 title game, and they get embarrassed versus Iowa State. It's a different. Marquette could beat them if they get healthy, but it's a different, different game. I like that they're more tested this year, so we'll go Houston. Purdue versus Creighton. Purdue's got an easy path, but I would like. What happened in the tournament maybe last year sticking with me. I would like Creighton over them. I'd like Tennessee over them. I think I would like Oregon over Purdue at this stage. I don't know why. I kind of just do. I'm going to take Creighton. And again, I remember the toughest game I said I had to pick was Creighton-Tennessee. I had Tennessee. I switched to Creighton. When I had Tennessee, I had them beating Purdue as well. Maybe it's just Tennessee just always disappointing. I usually have Tennessee going far. Like Tennessee and Illinois are teams I have going far, and then they end up disappointing me a little bit. They come up shorter than I thought. So maybe it's got to be a different year though. So maybe Tennessee does it. But that Creighton, watch it. It probably won't be Creighton, Tennessee, but it could be Oregon. Maybe that'd be an argument going with Tennessee because the Creighton's got a tougher. I think Tennessee surely gets to that Creighton or Oregon game, or could it be South Carolina? We'll see. It's going to be a lot of fun there. And then on to the game. This has to happen. Caleb Love versus North Carolina, 1 versus 2. It's so tough to pick. I think my original thinking was the team, that Love used to play for the team, gets him. They know how he plays, and he can know how they play. But this is another one. It's another really tough one to pick. One of the tougher ones this entire bracket. I was originally going to go North Carolina, but I'm going to go with Arizona. I like their path. Again, I don't. It's going to be surprising to me if they don't get to this point. We've seen Arizona, they come up short a bit. They come up short. Even when they had some star players, I had them going far. Like, they come up short. They can become a little disappointing sometimes, but this is a really good team, and they have that star player and Love, and knows how North Carolina play. But I see them getting to this point, like, for sure. New Mexico, Baylor, those teams could be really sneaky, but so I like their chances to be at this point more in North Carolina, and head-to-head, I think it's a flip of a coin. So I will take Arizona in that one. Then we have our Final Four here. Again, 2 teams that'll be tested in their most recent games, but UConn tested more in their region than Houston versus Creighton. Creighton's got to get over so many big games that I have them winning at this point. And Houston, I love their path. I will take Houston going to the finals. Tough to pick against UConn here. Again, the best chance for UConn to lose before this point, I think, is Auburn here or it's Illinois/Iowa State here. I think they have more of a chance to like I will say Auburn. I'm closer to having Auburn beat them than Arizona beating them. And Auburn and Illinois, I'm closer to having them beat that. Auburn, Illinois are closer to being than UConn than Arizona, even though Arizona could do it. But that's how highly I think of that region. I love the teams that are hot, that won their tournament titles. That doesn't mean everything, but it's what it is. UConn, Houston. Again, tough picking Houston coming this far because that last game, but we don't want to base things off that last game against Iowa State. But they'll have their hands full with UConn. I will take UConn. A little boring picking the repeats. I really didn't want to do it either because whenever I picked repeats in the past, I just told myself I can't pick repeats. But I think this is by far the best team. But who could stop them? The other, like the super hot tournament teams, and they're all in the same. I hate how they did that. They're all in the same region, but it's gonna be. It makes it more fun because it's more of a shot for those good games to happen. Because if we're relying on the good games to happen here in the Final Four, chances are they weren't going to happen because it's so much further away. So that's the positive. We're gonna see the really, really heavy, like the good heavyweight games between the hot teams. So. UConn just so well coached. They have everything. If they want to win with shooting, they can. If they want to win with, team basketball, which most time it is, passing. If they want to win down low, they can do it. With the bigs, it's just very difficult to go against UConn. But man, I never make multiple. I'm not going to multiple videos with different brackets. That'd be ridiculous. But sometimes for fun, I'll just make other brackets like on this ESPN challenge. And there's my next bracket, I might have somebody else winning it all from this region over here. Illinois' ability to score, having one of the better players in the country. Iowa State's ridiculous defense, what they did with Houston, winning that crazy conference, and Auburn, Bruce Pearl, having these guys ready. They're always balling this time of the year. They were so close a few years ago. I think they got a mixture of different ways to win as well. They got some ball players. They're physical. Those teams, to me, have the formula to win it all. Like Houston, I have going to the finals, but I'm like, man, how far could they go before their offense shits the bed? So that's the tough part with them. That's why it's hard to see them winning it all. I think they kind of have a ceiling of making it there, possibly. But I do love their path. Marquette, if they're healthy. Kentucky, if they play to their best ability, they can win it. I just don't see Purdue. Maybe it's because of last year. I'm letting that stick in my mind. I don't see Tennessee winning it all just because they're Tennessee and they kind of disappoint sometimes, but they have one of the better ball players in the whole country. Creighton, they're pretty damn balanced. They have that experience and they're well coached as well. North Carolina looked like that team before the NC State game. Maybe that's one I'm probably really letting one game stick in my head a little too much. I was gonna say maybe the ACC, are they challenged enough? But there's some sneaky teams in the ACC, like Pittsburgh's really good, even though they're not in the tournament. But there's quite a few free wins there. I love Arizona's path. Like I was very close to having North Carolina and Tennessee. North Carolina here instead of Arizona and Tennessee. Like those are the tough games there. This is what I'm going with. I'll probably regret going against my initial thoughts, but we'll submit the bracket. I'll probably make some more. But yeah, that'll do it for this one. Again, NFL channel here. If you're interested in that, check it out. If not, then I appreciate you for being here for this video anyways. We do have social media, Twitter, always on there. Sponsors, GLD Shop, Liquid IV, code GOAT for a percentage off. Links pinned in the comments, anything you're looking for. It's going to do it. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.